Hello, and welcome back to another Davis Does Weather live stream. Today we are here doing some severe weather coverage for portions of the upper Midwest. Currently we have an ongoing tornado in portions of central Minnesota, so we'll go ahead and talk about that, and we'll also talk about a threat for severe weather across portions of the central plains later tonight that we're expecting to be ongoing. Taking a look at this tornado warning here, you'll notice that we have an observed tag on this. This means that this is an ongoing tornado. This has been a confirmed tornado on and off now for the past 30 minutes or so. This tornado warning is going out for Crosby, Farm Island, Aitkin, and Nisswa, Minnesota. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Your tornado is going to be ongoing right now just north of Lake Shore, Minnesota. And I will say, just based off of the velocity presentation that we have from this thing, we need to make sure that we are taking this very seriously because it looks like this could be a decently strong tornado. So again, if you are out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. You'll also notice those lowered precipitation values over where that tornado is ongoing. Pretty interesting feature there on the reflectivity. Again, this is right now going to be on the ground just north of Lake Shore, and this is going to be approaching Nisswa. So if you're along Highway 371 in between Picaw Lakes and East Gold Lake, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, potentially a strong tornado ongoing here in central Minnesota. Now, we do have a tornado watch in effect here for portions of central and southern Minnesota back through far western Wisconsin. This goes out for the Twin Cities area all the way back up towards areas like Grand Rapids, and we do have a couple of supercells firing right now in portions of central and southern Wisconsin. Specifically, the one just north of Litchfield has had my eye here for a few radar scans, and if we take a look at the velocities, you'll notice that potentially we're starting to see some signs of some broad rotation at least there. So if you're out here ahead of this supercell, like in the St. Joseph or St. Cloud areas along the Minnesota, Wisconsin, or excuse me, I guess just kind of out there in central Minnesota, make sure that you are seeking not seeking shelter, but preparing to seek shelter if necessary, because this supercell is in an environment that's actually going to be pretty decent for explosive thunderstorm growth. If we take a look at our instability out here, you'll notice that it's not the best. It's not the most impressive we've ever had for a June setup, but it's not terrible. If the HRRR would go ahead and load here, that would be fan-flippantastic. Like, that would just be phenomenal. But, of course, Radar Omega can't be working the radar, and it can't be working at the models at the same time. You know, we can't have everything working at once. But in all seriousness, if you take a look at our instability values out here, again, they're nothing incredible, but they are actually quite high. As this area of instability moves off to the east, you'll notice that they get quite a bit higher. But as of right now, this supercell is traveling in an environment that's going to be looking at about 3,000 to 2,500 joules per kilogram of surface cape. If you're wondering why the cape is so elevated there along that line, that is because that is literally where our front is moving through right now. So if we were to take a look at our wind shear for this event, you'll notice that it's also pretty decent, but it's nothing incredible, sitting at about 35 to 40 knots of shear within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere. And within the first kilometer of the atmosphere, it's pretty similar, a little bit lower, obviously. You're talking, 20 to 25 knots of shear across the general vicinity. Our dew points out here, we've got more than enough moisture to support a couple of brief tornadoes there. Again, potentially a briefly strong one as well. Dew points sitting in between 60 and 75 degrees across the entire state of Minnesota. And this is not the only area that we're watching for a significant severe weather threat tonight. We also have an enhanced risk of severe weather across portions of central Nebraska and northeastern Colorado. We're expecting a couple of supercells to fire north of the Broken Bow area here as we get into the evening time hours tonight. Originally, it was looking like these were going to be intense, nasty, monster tornado producing supercells over the North Platte area. Actually, if we go back to, say, like the 16Z run of the HRRR, you'll notice that it was a little bit further south that we were expecting that discrete convection to explode. And if we go back even further, say on the 12Z run of the HRRR, these were expected to be intense, nasty supercells, or excuse me, I guess not the 12Z, but kind of in between the 12Z and the 16Z run of the HRRR, we were expecting nasty, discrete supercells with the capability of producing a significant tornado or two. At this point, we're expecting it to mainly remain northeast of the North Platte area with some heavy downburst wind gusts approaching North Platte in the late nighttime hours. Again, this mode actually does look similar to our Minnesota mode, although a little bit less impressive. If we take a look at our instability values out here in this area, you'll notice that they are slightly lower than back up in portions of Minnesota, but as we get into the late evening time hours, those will kind of rise. Taking a look at our wind shear out here in this area, taking a look at the shear within the first 6 kilometers of the atmosphere, you'll notice that it's not super incredible, but still, again, kind of sitting in between 35 and 40 knots of shear, which is more than enough to support the development of some severe thunderstorms and a couple of brief tornadoes tornadoes potentially as well. And then taking a look at our SRH values out here, this is basically our vertical wind shear. Within the first 3 kilometers of the atmosphere, we're actually looking at some decent SRH values. Obviously, they're going to be higher over the areas where the supercells develop, but even outside of that, you've got 200, 250 SRH. That's not terrible. So we'll see how tonight plays out here in portions of Nebraska, but again, right now we're watching this ongoing tornado here in Minnesota currently. Again, this is an ongoing tornado here just off to the west of the Aitken area. If we take a look at our velocities, again, potentially a significant tornado ongoing near Nisswa. Again, if you're in this area, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and an interior room. This tornado just moved over the Lake Shore area, and again, it's soon going to be crossing Highway 371 near Nisswa. I'm going to go ahead and pull up stream chat, so if anybody has any questions about the location, make sure to leave those down below. I'll try to answer them accurately and honestly, and let's go ahead and get into this interesting evening of severe weather coverage. This is the beginning of a potentially very active stretch of significant severe weather events that we're going to be talking about across portions of the plains and the Midwest. And again, we're going to talk about the next few days here in just a second. I'd like to get my stream chat up, but of course, it just can't. Of course, this is the day where everything has to be down. Not on the past several streams where we've just kind of been chilling out, but on the one where we've actually got some serious, significant, severe weather activity going on, right? So, Alan with the 99-cent donation. W. Allen in the chat. Alan the GOAT back again. W. Allen's down below. Thank you so much for the 99-cent donation. If you're not aware, Alan is by far the top donor on this channel of all time. So, W. Allen's in the chat. Thank you so much for the 99-cent donation. Alan's a G, bro. Alan is literally the GOAT of the Davis Does Weather community. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this stream out here on a community post so that everybody can kind of know what's going on here. Again, this is now a PDS tornado warning. So this is now a PDS tornado warning going out for portions of Minnesota. If you are in this area, you got to seek shelter immediately. This is a particularly dangerous situation for Aitken and areas to the west of Aitken. Again, this is a significant tornado ongoing in Minnesota now. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation for Nisswa and areas off to the east. If you're in this area, you got to get either underground or into a storm shelter. Again, a PDS tornado warning means that we likely have a large and extremely dangerous tornado ongoing. This is a weather spotters confirmed tornado just west of the Long Lake area right now, likely moving over Nisswa as we speak. So if you're in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter. Again, this is now a particularly dangerous situation for areas just southwest of Mission and areas off to the far west of Aitken in central Minnesota. Again, this is a PDS tornado warning now going out for Nisswa and surrounding areas. I was not expecting that whatsoever, but again, potentially a strong tornado just now crossing the Highway 371 corridor just off to the south of Nisswa. Again, your tornado would be ongoing just west of Lake Edward at this point if it is on the ground, which again, apparently this is a very large tornado ongoing confirmed by weather spotters. So if you're in this area, make sure you are watching out for this. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation. You got to be ready to seek shelter out here, guys. So give me just a second. Alrighty. So again, likely a large tornado ongoing if you are just now tuning in that just crossed Highway 371 near Nisswa, Minnesota. It almost looks like we're going to see a velocity couplet handoff here. Obviously, you'll notice that your rotation's kind of weakening with our original couplet over the Nisswa area, but it seems like something could be re-intensifying over the Lake Hubert area, so we're going to watch out for this. Again, if you are out here in this area, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, potentially a large and extremely dangerous tornado ongoing just west of the Lake Edward area, just northwest of Riverton. Again, a PDS tornado warning is not a normal tornado warning. It is an elevated kind of tornado warning that's issued whenever we likely have a large and destructive tornado on the ground. Again, at 4:43 p.m., a large and extremely dangerous tornado was confirmed near North Long Lake. Again, this is a large and extremely dangerous and potentially deadly tornado on the ground. So if you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter. Again, a PDS tornado warning is an elevated kind of tornado warning that is only issued in situations where we believe that we have a large tornado ongoing. And again, that certainly could be the case here just over Lake Hubert. So if you were out here in this area, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, it looks like we're seeing a velocity couplet handoff occur here, so this could be the occlusion of our tornado that originally prompted the PDS warning. and the development of a new one as this approaches near Lake Edward and the Mission area. So again, if you're out here in this tornado warning, we need you to be seeking shelter immediately. If you know anybody out here in this area, you got to send them this stream, make sure they're doing okay, because again, this is a very serious situation ongoing now in central Minnesota, as a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado warning has been issued now. So we'll see what happens as we go over the next several minutes here, and this tornado continues to move off to the east-northeast, but as of right now, looking like this could be a pretty serious and potentially life-threatening situation for areas just north of Highway 210. If you're out here, guys, you got to be seeking shelter. Again, this is right now in central Minnesota. This is an embedded an embedded supercell and a QLCS here. Again, this tornado is likely ongoing right now east of Nisswa. If you're in this area, you got to be seeking shelter. Again, this is a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado just off to the far west of Crosby. So if you're in this area, you got to make sure that you are taking cover immediately. Again, if you're in a mobile home, you got to evacuate and find a more substantial shelter to take place in. As again, this is a significant situation ongoing over Nisswa. So if you're in this area, make sure that you are seeking shelter. Again, this tornado is likely not going to be able to go for much longer just due to the fact that it's not, it's an embedded QLCS supercell, so it's not like it's got this entirely discrete, nasty monster environment to work with. It's probably not going to last 5 or 10 more minutes, but you shouldn't treat it like that because there is the, 1 in 1,000 chance that it does, and it's going to be in that scenario where you don't take shelter and you wish that you did. So, again, pray for all these people out here that they're taking shelter. Again, central Minnesota obviously is not going to have the most well-built homes in the area or in the world. And, again, these are some more populated areas that we're talking about here. This tornado moving through again. Nisswa likely just took a direct hit from this tornado over Lake Shore and Lake Huber. I really, really hope that everybody out here took the warning seriously, because again, not only do we have a lot of mobile homes out here, but there's probably people camping. There could literally be people outside on the river right now, because it's one of those situations where, an hour ago it wasn't even raining. And again, that's just part of the reason that our instability is so high out here. Again, this is an extremely dangerous situation. Again, I pray that everybody took shelter in this area, otherwise that could have turned deadly very fast. Very fast. So, again, we've got to hope and pray that everybody took that warning seriously, just due to the fact that, obviously not only do you have those potential mobile homes and, again, people camping out there, but also just not really well-built structures in general out here in central Minnesota. So, again, we're going to hope that everybody took shelter, but unfortunately there's always going to be that one person that doesn't take it seriously enough. So, we've got to hope and pray that that didn't happen this time around. Again, this tornado was likely strong. It was likely very intense, and it went directly through, if not a mobile home park, it went right through several lakes, and you probably got people camping out there. Again, just not a good situation at all. It also crossed a major highway. Not what you want to see. Not at all. So, again, I really do, that everybody took that warning seriously, because this is a far, far too common situation where we have a significant tornado cross over a mobile home park. The people in the mobile homes don't take it seriously enough. And, again, unfortunately, most people don't realize that, things can go from 0 to 100 very quickly in a situation like this. Again, think from a non-WX nerd perspective here. If you didn't know anything about weather and you were sitting out here in Nisswa, again, not even an hour ago, half an hour ago, it wasn't even raining, and a PDS tornado warning gets issued. Again, you don't realize, you don't know what that means. And would you really take that tornado warning quite that seriously? It's something to think about. Also, it's worth noting that a lot of these areas probably have very, very poor cell service. There's a chance that some of these people didn't even get the alert on their phone. That's awful. Alan with the $50 donation. W. Allen's in the chat. Oh my goodness. Alan the GOAT. Alan, bro, one day I'm going to pay you back, Alan. Alan is legitimately the GOAT of the Davis Does Weather community. Again, God bless Alan. Thank you so much for the $50 donation. Again, W. Allen's down below in the chat. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Alan. You are incredible. Thank you so much for the $50 donation. Again, Alan is unbelievably generous. Unbelievably generous. So, W. Allen's in the chat. Thank you so much for the incredibly generous $50 donation. My goodness. W's in the chat for Allen. And let's also go ahead and get you thrown up there on the donation board because I forgot to do that earlier. Seriously though, thank you so much, Allen. That's incredible. Thank you so much. W. Allen's in the chat. Again, that is incredible. Allen is a GOAT. So W. Allen's down below. Again, Allen with the $50 donation. Incredibly generous. Thank you so much. Again, going right back into our severe weather coverage here. Again, we do have a tornado warning now for the supercell that we mentioned earlier near Watkins, Minnesota. Again, this is a supercell that is in an incredibly discrete environment. You're also dealing with, again, pretty absurd instability values out here. Again, if we take a look at our surface-based cape, you'll notice that, again, we're raging, I guess we go back to the 19Z because Radar Omega's being terrible and it hasn't loaded yet. For the 20Z, if we go back to the 19Z run of the HRRR, you'll notice that we've got 3,500 joules per kilogram of surface instability out here. Again, our wind shear is pretty impressive. I mean, this is an environment where this supercell genuinely could explode in activity. I think especially if it undergoes like a cell merger, that's what's really going to push this to the finish line in the race to produce a tornado. But I think if it doesn't do that, there's a potential that this kind of just is a big-time hailmaker. So we'll see what happens. But again, currently a PDS tornado warning ongoing right now for Nisswa and Mission in Minnesota. Again, this is right up along the Minnesota, I don't know why I keep saying Minnesota-Wisconsin state line. It's not even close to the state line, but up here in north-central Minnesota, again, this is right east of Nisswa. Again, this is going to be going north of Crosby, pretty much parallel to Highway 210. So if you're in this area, you got to be seeking shelter. Again, it looks like this tornado may have occluded by now, but I mean, again, this is a very, very significant and very serious situation here for a few minutes. Oh my goodness, yeah, there are plenty of photos and videos out here of this thing. This was a very intense tornado. I mean, this was a huge stovepipe. Huge. Again, seeing that go through a mobile home park, I mean, that is just devastating. I mean, this was a significant tornado, guys. Significant. Very significant. Again, this was a large stovepipe tornado near Nisswa. My goodness, dude. Again, no photos or videos of damage yet, but, I mean, unfortunately, we kind of know in a situation like this where we've got, this very intense tornado moving through a mobile home park, you're going to see some stuff that you don't want to see. Wow. Again, still a very intense area of rotation here, just southeast of Nisswa now. Again, I never would have thought that our embedded QLCS supercell was going to be the one to produce a significant intense tornado today. But, again, it did it. I mean, that just goes to show that in an environment where you've got so much instability, and honestly, you've got some good surface features today, too. I mean, it is a very, very gnarly setup for the threat of significant tornadoes, no matter the storm mode. Again, this is a potentially strong tornado still ongoing north of Merrifield, so again, if you know anybody out here, you gotta send them this stream, make sure they're doing okay. Again, we gotta pray for these people out here, guys. Again, in addition to that, we still have an ongoing tornado warning for Watkins in Minnesota. Again, this is further down to the south. This is a supercell that, again, I think is probably going to have to undergo a merger or two to truly become very intense enough to produce a brief tornado or two. But the environment is in place to the point where it may not quite need that. It may just take a while to do something. So we'll see what happens with this. But again, I mean, this has got a lot of room to work with. So I think if a merger pops up, I mean, this is going to have the very real potential to produce another strong tornado. And again, this one's in even more of a populated area, or it's going to be very soon as it approaches the north side of the Twin Cities metro area. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, for right now, we've got to kind of stay focused in here on our PDS tornado warning for Crosby, Aitken, and Farm Island. Again, I mean, this was a very, very significant tornado for a few moments, as this was near the Nisswa area. Again, a very large stovepipe. And again, even almost looked like it went through a bit of a wedging out phase for a little bit. So, we'll see what happens. But, very intense tornado in potentially the worst area possible. Again, I mean, this is one of those situations where, you know, the tornado, it wasn't necessarily extremely intense. I mean, it was quite strong, but it doesn't matter how intense it is because these mobile homes and, you know, the fact that the people out here likely didn't take this nearly seriously enough. I mean, this very quickly can turn into, you know, a very serious situation where we're talking about casualties and, I mean, all sorts of nasty stuff. The scan near Randell just had a potential CC. Where's Randell? Let's check it out. They did just continue this tornado warning. This is still a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado warning for Crosby, as well as Aitken. If you're in this area, again, you got to make sure that you are staying in your safe spot. Let me take a look at Randell real quick. I don't see a Randell anywhere. But again, nonetheless, a very significant and again potentially even very intense tornado still ongoing here. Just northwest of Farm Island. Again, this is going to be crossing over Lake Edward as we speak. Moving just north of Crosby. Again, this is pretty much parallel to Highway 210, so we'll see what happens. I do think that a little bit further down to the south here, again, our supercell near Watkins is something to watch. Again, this is developing some pretty significant rotation very quickly, and it's interesting. It's got they've got separate hook echoes here. It looks like our backside hook echo here, almost what happened was this is actually potentially a little merger that just developed. It's not necessarily a part of this actual supercell, but nonetheless, the potential for an ongoing tornado northeast of Watkins, it does exist. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Reed's not live, so I don't know how he has a tornado on the ground, but unless he posted something on Twitter. I don't think he did, though. Yeah, Reed did not have a... Reed is not chasing, so... But again, very significant and potentially even briefly violent tornado just passed through Nisswa, Minnesota. Again, it's a very serious situation here because this tornado is still on the ground and it's still very strong. So if you're out here in this area, you've got to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, this is likely a rain wrap tornado at this point. It was even somewhat rain wrap before, whenever all those photogenic pictures were being taken. A lot of them were contrast enhanced and whatnot to negate that, but at a certain point, that doesn't work. So if you're in this area, you got to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Well, I'd rather oversell this situation than undersell it, so... Again, this is going to be moving north of Crosby. This is riding Highway 210 up towards Aitken. If you're out here in this area, you got to be seeking shelter. I mean, this just passed over Lake Edward again. It looks like this tornado is no less intense than it was whenever the PDS warning was issued. Again, I mean, this is a very, very long tracking tornado. Very long tracking. Again, I mean, this has been on the ground for, what, like half an hour now? Maybe even longer. So... if you're out here in this area, you got to be seeking shelter. Again, your tornado right now is going to be located right over Lake Edward, just northwest of Riverton. Again, still a very strong area of rotation. Again, unfortunately, all of our chasers that we have access to today position back in Nebraska because we're expecting those supercells to really intensify as we go later in the evening time as well. So we don't have anybody out here that we can bring up. But there are chasers that do have this on the ground, and again, it was a very, very large stovepipe tornado. So, what's going on, Otter? Again, our supercell near Watkins looks to continue to be intensifying here. I will say we do have a little merger off to the south. It's likely not going to make any interaction with our northern supercell, but it could potentially mess with this cluster down here, and that could potentially intensify the chance of those clustery thunderstorms producing a brief tornado. Again, this was a very, very intense tornado for a few minutes. Again, I mean, it still likely is as this moves off towards Crosby. Again, this is going to be going just north of Crosby, Minnesota. If you're out here in Wolford or Cuyuna or even Trombled, you've got to be getting to your safe spot immediately. Again, this tornado is likely already very close to, if not in Trombled, in central Minnesota. A couple of broad areas of circulation developing further off to the north here. Very weak, but still worth noting, just west of Nashwauk. A lot of these broad areas of circulation today have had a history of producing a brief tornado or something like that. I mean, again, we've had a lot of LP supercells produce confirmed tornadoes today further off to the west and kind of west central Minnesota. Anyway, again, still a very significant area of rotation and potentially a significant tornado ongoing northwest of Riverton, Minnesota. So, we'll see what happens. And again, our supercell near Watkins is continuing to rotate quite intensely here with its new and improved hook echo. So, we'll see what happens. I just realized I said that twice, didn't I? Again, I pray that everybody in Nisswa is okay, because that was a very serious situation. Unfortunately, again, it was moving through an area that likely has a lot of poorly built structures, mobile homes, campers, and whatnot. I mean, this is not necessarily a worst-case scenario, but for a tornado this strength, that is about the worst area it could have gone through. New tornado warning for the south side of our QLCS embedded supercells here. This is for Aitkin all the way out towards McGregor for a couple more areas of broad circulation. These are going to be just east of Brainerd at this point along Highway 210, so if you're out here in this area, make sure you're seeking shelter immediately. Again, those are going to be going near Farm Island in Glen very shortly. And further off to the north here, again, our ongoing tornado just passed over Lake Edward, just north of Riverton, in between Riverton and Mission at the moment. Again, our supercell further down to the south, we're going to continue to watch. We do have a new radar scan there. Velocities have yet to update those, so we'll get you guys the latest information on that situation as well. Again, a couple of other supercells developing further down to the south here. These are pretty rapidly exploding in intensification. Again, these are going to be located just west of New Ulm, Minnesota. And again, this environment isn't quite as impressive, but it is still favorable for the development of a couple of tornadoes, potentially. So we'll see what happens with that. I would not be shocked to see a tornado watch get issued a little bit further down to the south here. In fact, I believe there's already a mesoscale discussion in place for this area, mentioning the threat for a couple of tornadoes and the potential for a tornado watch to be issued. Let's check that out. Let's see. There is not. Interesting. That's what I was thinking. I mean, this is a situation where, it's an embedded QLCS supercell. There's really not a whole lot of wind shear or SRH out here in this environment. I mean, it's kind of a shock to see a tornado this intense develop in this kind of environment, in this situation. And again, it's just really, really unfortunate that it happened right over pretty much one of our only population centers out here in this area. I mean, seriously, if it had went, just a couple miles further south, it would have missed Nisswa. If it went, just a couple miles further north, it would have missed Nisswa. Nisswa's not a large town whatsoever, but it looks like it took a direct hit from this tornado. And if not, it certainly went near Lake Hubert. So, area of circulation to the south getting quite a bit stronger as well near Brainerd. So, if you're out here south of Aitken, make sure that you are seeking shelter. Again, tornado warning in effect for that now. And our supercell over Watkins, again, struggling to develop a very defined hook echo. Not really a clear area of inflow poking out yet, so we'll see what happens with that. Again, likely that this tornado is going to be able to continue in this environment as it moves off to the north of Crosby. So we'll see what happens. Duluth radar has it looking more intense. That's what we're looking from, so. Twin Cities has a, oh yeah. I mean, very broad couplet, but again, I mean, you're looking so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Again, still both radars confirming that we've got that intense area of rotation now, unfortunately, pretty much on the north side of Crosby. Again, these supercells further down to the south are going to likely continue to develop further here. So we'll watch for the potential of a new severe thunderstorm or potentially even a tornado watch to get issued for portions of southern Minnesota shortly. This has now been downgraded to a radar-indicated PDS tornado warning, but still PDS nonetheless. And if you're in this area, you need to remain in your safe spot. I mean, again, whether this is on the ground or not, it doesn't really matter a whole heck of a lot. I mean, you've really just got to take this tornado warning as seriously as possible because this environment has obviously proven that it's a bit more potent than we originally thought. Our southern area of circulation looks to be intensifying, so we'll watch that as well. Again, I'm trying to find more photos and videos of damage from Nisswa, but as of right now, I'm not seeing a whole heck of a lot. Again, this was still on the ground about 10 minutes ago. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's awful to see something like this happen in an area with so many mobile homes and, again, also an area with pretty terrible cell service. Again, there is the legitimate chance that there are dead zones out here, and people just didn't get the wireless emergency alert at all. Obviously, a lot of these areas aren't going to have sirens. So, we'll see what happens. But, did YouTube not send out the notification? Is that what happened? Because I realized that we've had like 5 people watching the entire stream. I didn't say anything about it, but I figured that might have been what happened. Alrighty. So again, this supercell is going to continue to move off to the east. Again, riding Highway 55 near Buffalo. Again, now moving into kind of east central Minnesota. Also worth noting, again, our clustery thunderstorms here have kind of merged and developed into one larger, potentially developing supercell over Dassel. So we'll see what that does over the next several minutes. Again, I kind of just interacted with that boundary there, so we'll take a look at what happens, but as of right now, nothing else really to worry about. Again, we're awaiting more reports of damage from the Nisswa area. That's what it was called, right? Or Nisswa. A new severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for portions of the Central Plains for our severe weather threat that we're expecting to materialize later tonight in portions of Nebraska. Taking a look at the severe thunderstorm watch specifics. If we go ahead and click on it here, you'll notice that it mentions the threat for a couple of tornadoes, significant damaging wind gusts, and some large hail. Again, if you're out here in this area, make sure you multiple receive alerts and a tornado action plan in place. The mesoscale discussion for this mentions the threat of damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour and potentially very large hail between large apple and softball size. So, Again, pretty potent severe weather setup here for portions of central and the panhandle of Nebraska tonight. Again, I think that things are mainly going to be too clustery for any sort of major tornado threat to materialize, but originally these North Platte supercells were looking pretty gnarly, so we'll see how that develops over the next several hours. Again, that's probably not going to be a threat that gets too intense until later tonight. But yeah. So, again, a radar-indicated PDS tornado warning remains in effect for Aitkin, Minnesota. Again, still some decently strong circulation just northwest of Crosby. With our secondary area of rotation with the new radar-indicated tornado warning just southwest of Bay Lake. We'll see what happens there. But for right now, we are not looking at anything too intense in particular. A low precipitation hook echo continuing to potentially materialize there just east of Watkins over Kimball, Minnesota. Again, a lot of our other supercells further down to the south that are going to have the potential to do something similar, so we'll see what happens. What else is there to mention? Not a whole lot right now, in all honesty. Again, still awaiting reports of damage out of the Nisswa area. Still don't have anything yet. If you guys see anything, feel free to mention in the chat. But again, I don't have any photos or videos of actual damage to show you guys quite yet. Again, hopefully it missed Nisswa, but it's not looking like that was the case. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. Again, either way, a very large and destructive tornado there. Again, huge stovepipe. Huge. Like, we're talking, like, potentially quarter-mile wide, so we'll see what happens with that, but okay. So, again, still a PDS tornado warning in effect here, technically, for Aitkin. But this is no longer an ongoing tornado here, as far as we can confirm. You do need to remain in your safe spot, though, because, again, this is still an intense area of rotation that's going to have the possibility to produce a brief tornado as this moves towards Aitkin over the next several minutes. What else is there to mention? I mean, again, Nebraska is not going to get going here for another couple hours. That'll probably be a separate stream if we even go live for that threat. Again, I see that mainly being a downburst, damaging wind threat, and large hail threat, as storm mode appears more clustery than anything else. But we'll watch. We'll be on standby, I guess you could say. Tornado warning continues for East Lake and Garrison. This is for our southern tornado warning on our embedded supercells in the QLCS moving through Aitkin right now. Again, still a very strong area of rotation, about to go just north of Garrison along Highway 169, so if you're in this area, make sure you're staying in your safe spot, preferably either underground or in a storm shelter. New tornado warning just issued for areas south of Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Again, pretty strong area of circulation there, actually, just west of Hill City. So if you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, very strong area of rotation just east of Remmer along Highway 6. So we'll see what happens. But outside of that, not a whole lot to note. Again, we're still waiting to see if we're going to have any reports or videos of damage from the Nisswa area. It may be a little bit. Again, we don't have a whole lot of chasers out here in this area. And the ones that we do have may have stayed on the tornado. So, we'll see. But, again, as of right now, no confirmation that we have any significant damage quite yet, but I'm almost certain that that's going to change. Especially when you have, an area that is filled to the brim with mobile homes and campers and whatnot. Not a good situation. But anyway. New severe thunderstorm warning just issued for our cell near Dassel that we mentioned earlier. This is for half-dollar sized hail and damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. This is for areas near Cocado and Dassel, so if you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors and away from windows immediately. Again, a very unexpected large tornado there. That's what I'll say. Area of rotation just northeast of Remmer continuing to get much stronger along Highway 6. So again, if you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter. Very real potential this tries to produce a tornado over the next couple of minutes. And again, a couple of areas off to the northeast developing some impressive circulation as well. Very broad, though, at the moment. We'll notice a defined area of inflow on the reflectivity there just northeast of Blackberry. So, obviously, intensifying pocket of circulation. We'll see if they give that a tornado warning. If they were to, it would likely be for the Highway 65 corridor south of Nashwauk. Or Nashwauk, however you pronounce that. What else is there to mention? Not a whole lot right now, honestly. So, we'll see what happens. Tornado warning continues for Watkins. Still a radar-indicated tornado warning, however. Again, likely going to see a new tornado warning come out for that shortly. If the National Weather Service in the Twin Cities decides that that's the right call. I suppose that both sides of the county line here are National Weather Service Twin Cities. I was thinking these are two different National Weather Service offices, but they're not. So, we'll see what happens. Again, at this point, I'd be most concerned about our area of rotation just northwest of Hill City. Very, very tight, if nothing else. So we'll see what happens. Yes, the Nisswa tornado was on the ground for anywhere between half an hour and potentially up to 45-50 minutes. There's not a CC drop that is related to debris being lofted, just contamination. And you can kind of confirm that by looking at other radar sites. Obviously, these are very far away, so that doesn't necessarily tell the story in of itself, but very, very unlikely that, for example, this would be visible on a radar site that's, over 100 miles away. If it was, then this would be a very strong tornado. So, just some contamination. I think at this point we're probably good to kind of cut off our coverage here. I don't want to, but unfortunately I am going to have to go here in a few minutes, so best to just cut it off right now while we don't have anything going on. So I want to thank you guys all for tuning into this live stream. Again, the chance that we go live for our Nebraska threat later tonight is minimal, I'd say. It's not impossible, but it's pretty minimal. They did actually just extend our tornado warning for the Nisswa cell, and again, it is no longer a PDS tornado warning. This is just for radar indicator rotations. This approaches McGregor and Kimberly. I will say, as soon as they did that, though, the area of circulation actually started to pick up quite a bit as it approaches Aitkin, but again, that is from the Twin Cities radar, so those are very elevated rotation signals that we're seeing, highly elevated. I mean, this is, 120 miles away, so again, thank you all for tuning in this live stream. I will see you guys all in the next one, whenever that is, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.